Hey everyone, welcome to Therapy Cove. My name is Amrita Sandhu, and this is a safe space of healing, self discovery, and rewarding change. Today, I want to talk about something that does not get talked about enough. I want to talk about something that was personally a game changer for me and something that I see the benefit of every single day. What I'm talking about here is the mind and body connection, the way that what we go through emotionally can and often does show up in a subsequent way in the body. Now, how many times have you felt anxious and it messes with your gut? You got to go to the bathroom a ton, or maybe you get nauseous and you're gagging. Or how many times have you been stressed out and you develop a tension headache? Now, these are some of the more prevalent and obvious ways that trauma or stress or negative emotions can show up in the body. But often there's a lot of subtle telltale signs that what you've gone through, maybe even in your childhood, might be showing up in adulthood and impacting your physical health. So let's talk about the top three ways it shows up in your body and impacts how your body's functioning. The very top, most prevalent way is with joint pain or inflammation in the body. So let's do a little thought experiment here, or maybe you yourself can relate to this. Imagine there's someone that has a desk office job, and day in and day out, they're stressed out about deadlines and work and all these meetings. And what do? They hunch up their shoulders, they hold tension in their upper body, in their neck and in their shoulders. Prolonged hunching and building tension leads to inflammation. Here's the mind body correlation. What does inflammation lead to? Disease. So, oftentimes and traditionally, we have thought as mental health as existing over here and physical health as being its own thing way over there. And how much do we see this in so many cultural groups that the dialogue around physical health is normalized and commonplace? We'll chat about it at dinner parties, we'll talk about it at work. We will very easily, perhaps not so much for males who tend to be avoidant with doctor's appointments, but it's a lot more acceptable and normalized to go chat about blood pressure, cholesterol, and get blood work done when we have a physical complaint. But seldom do we ever try to correlate that or trace that back to some sort of emotional distress, insecurity, or unmet need. And this is where somatic therapy can really come in handy, because now we're doing something called bottom up processing. We're dropping down into the body and saying, hey, what's the story that my body's been trying to tell me all along? The thing that's really tricky is that we are programmed to think that we can think away our distress. Even traditional psychological interventions or modalities for therapy have been heavily reliant on the cognitive. Think about if you've ever been to therapy. What did the dialogue usually look like? Maybe you talked about reframing thoughts. Maybe you talked about habit building, how to change your behavior in order to have a more pleasant emotion or a more pleasant thought. But that's only half of the story. Often the other half of the story gets deeply neglected.